are coming up and it's saying that it's dropping for some reason. So you'll give me a few. I'm just trying to, don't mind me. I know I'm not talking, but that's the reason why I'm trying to get this stuff. I'm trying to get it set up so that way it'll go through. So there's that one. Hi. What you doing? What you doing? All right. Let me fix this. All right, cool. There we go. So, a historical list of ancient texts that predate the Bible. All right. So, one of the things that uh, I've always talked about and I've always, shared with people on here is that there were so many things. Uh, what you have here is the Gnostic Gospels. These are the master collections of all the books that were left out of the Bible, the canonized version, anyway. Um, and it is very, very interesting, folks. I got to tell you, this is something that I really wish that you would read. Um, and the Gospel of Thomas in itself is just mind blowing. You have the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Truth, and in the Gospel of Truth, it talks about the joy to those who have knowledge. Their ignorance of the Father leads to mistakes. Jesus symbolizes knowledge, and knowledge is fruit. Jesus as the Gentile guide, the living book within the hearts of the children. The Father's call to those with knowledge. The Father's call to those with knowledge. Part 2. The Son of the Father is Jesus. This perfection, breaking defective dishes when moving. Truth is the Father's impression. Okay, and goes through all this. The Gospel of Peter. And in the Gospel of Judas, it talks about Jesus questions his disciples, a different realm, the dream of the disciples, Jesus and Judas. Jesus unveils secrets to Judas. In this one, I watched a video or an audiobook with the word is Jesus talking to Judas and him revealing secrets only to Judas that he wanted him to know. And in this one, it talks about how he was saying something to Judas, and the disciples were mad because they were like, "How come you're sharing secrets with him, and why can't you share it with the rest of us?" The Gospel of Peter, the Gospel of Mary, and yes, there is a Gospel of Mary that was in and that was taken out. The Gospel of Philip, Gospel of the Egyptians, Sophia of Jesus Christ. I'm not sure if I'm saying this right, but the Pistis, Pistis, Sophia, the second book of Sophia, and the third book of Sophia, the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth. The Apocalypse of Peter, the Apocryphon of John. I keep getting, I like, whatever. Second Treatise of the Great Seth, Hypostasis of the Archons, and Tripartite Tractate. So all these books are ones that were taken out for whatever reason. And the reason that they believe these books were taken out was because it contradicted what they were trying to do with the Bible narrative of putting books in that you have to remember, as I've always said before, when looking at these books were written over and over and over and over and over and over. And in fact, people are always saying, well, these were written by the apostles and these were written by yada, 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 yada. And not many people understand that the apostles were not even literate men. They couldn't even sign their own name, let alone write a whole freaking book. They probably had somebody write something down for them or speaking it to them and wrote it down, and then later on had it translated. Okay, once somebody got a hold of it, translating it into whatever other languages. But you got to understand that the original language that was spoken was Aramaic by Joshua. It wasn't Greek. It wasn't Latin. It wasn't French. It wasn't English. It was Aramaic. So the depictions of the texts that were given to people that were told by the apostles was in the language of Aramaic. And one of the only Bibles that still holds this text together is the Ethiopian Bible, which is the oldest Bible and one of the most complete Bibles in the world because it hasn't been changed. It is gathered from the original text and is in the Church of Ethiopia, where they believe that the Ark of the Covenant is located. Whether or not that's true, we don't know, and we'll probably never know. But as I said before, if you have not gotten your hands on these Gnostic Gospels, I really highly suggest that you do. And the reason being is because if you want to, it's like watching Star Wars episode, 3 and never watching 1, 2, and 3. Or episode 4, I'm sorry, 4, 5, and 6, and not knowing the whole story of 1, 2, and 3, of why things happened or the whole story, Star Wars. It's kind of like that. And it's one of those things where if you're wanting to get the knowledge and the full picture of everything and what's being told, then you need to read this. You need to put your head in here and look at it and read it and understand it, because it will give you a discernment of things that were left out, but it makes more sense because when you put it all together, now you're going, okay, now I see why they left the books out of the Bible, is because it's teaching you to be spiritual in nature, that God is in every one of us, that everything around us is within us. We are all connected, just like I said before, the Native Americans taught the same teaching, that the earth is our mother and we give back what we take. When we die, we return. Our body returns back to the earth, and the animals eat the grass where our bodies lie, and yada, 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 and so forth and so on. And when we die, our spirit leaves this body and returns to the universe. Why? Because our spirit is eternal. It never dies. So if it is eternal and it never dies, then it continues and continues and continues, which is why you get the teachings of what Jesus was saying and the apostles were saying is about reincarnation. What's wrong with you? Huh? What you want? All right. And I have this Ancient Cultures and Spiritual texts up. And these texts are similar texts to what we see in the Bible, which is what the Bible, the texts were adapted from, that are older. And one of the ones, like I said before, is the Emerald Tablets. And if you have not read them, or you do not know what I'm talking about, check it out. It's good stuff. It will help you understand and realize what I'm talking about. It gives you the bigger picture. And that's what I'm saying is a lot of people don't want to look at the bigger picture. They just want to keep focused on this one thing and taking it for face value. And you really, once you get this bigger picture in this narrative, here it is again. All right. Just like it says here, the Emerald Tablets of Tehuti, or Thoth, the oldest known writing in human history, written by the ancient Egyptian philosopher and scribe known as Thoth of Hermes. This book is known by scholars and thought leaders of the foundation of ancient wisdom, and many biblical themes come from this text. And I'll give you a taste of what I'm talking about here. And you will see that a lot of these teachings come from this text or basis of it. And the reasons why it came from this text is because, like we find out, is that Egypt was actually the home of Jesus and Mary when they fled and they went to go live in Egypt. That's where they stayed. And the place where he stayed with his mother is actually still there, and the Egyptians hold it as a sacred place. All right. The records of the mighty. All right, this is one of the entries from Thoth in the Emerald Tablets. Says the records of the mighty wisdom of the great Atlanteans set down for the guidance of those that are to come after. In the great city of Kor in the island of Undal, in the time of for past, I began this incarnation. So he says in this passage, we can see already that the tone is set for reincarnation and the regeneration. Very similar to this biblical statement in 2 Corinthians 5:2-7, it states, we grow weary in our present bodies, and we long to put on our heavenly bodies, like new clothing. For we will put on these heavenly bodies, and we will not be spirits without bodies. While we live in these earthly bodies, we groan and sigh, but it is not that we want to die and get rid of these bodies that clothe us. Rather, we want to put on our new bodies so that these dying bodies will be swallowed up by life. God himself has prepared us for this, and as a guarantee, he has given us his Holy Spirit. So we are always confident, even though we know that as long as we live in these bodies, we are not at home with the Lord, for we live by believing and not by seeing. Thoth also states, note, as the little men of the present age did, the mighty ones of Atlantis live and die. But rather from eon to eon did they renew their life in the halls of Amenti, where the river of life flows eternally onward. Jesus also made this same statement in the book of John 7:38. He that believes in me, out of his being shall flow rivers of living water. Thoth says, 100 times 10 have I descended the dark way that I lead into light, and as many times have I ascended from this darkness into the light, my strength and power reneweth. Now for a time I descend, and the men of Kim, Egypt, shall know me no more. Notice that we get our word alchemy from the Egyptian name, and there are other interesting statements made by the writer Thoth. He says that he has descended into the halls of Amenti where there is a regeneration chamber, and certainly we can understand the contents of cellular regeneration. He says he spent a total of 10,000 years, 100 times 10, regenerating his avatar for the course of many eons. Thoth also receives the river of life, stating, I begin this reincarnation from eon to eon where the river of life flows eternally onward. Remember how Jesus also makes this same reference in John 7:38. Whosoever believes in me is, as scripture has said, rivers of living water will flow from within. Keep in mind that the Emerald Tablets predated the Bible by 36,000 years, and Genesis 2:10-14, which mentions rivers of life enter four heads and rivers of life into foreheads and whatever that says. Stedman's Medical Dictionary refers to the river of cerebrospinal fluid into four chambers of our brain. So the more we read about the Emerald Tablets, we realize more readily that the connection between Thoth and Jesus, I believe, is very possible that they are one and the same. The correlation between the two in the chapters and verses that, because he says also here, but in time yet unborn will I rise again, mighty and potent, requiring an accounting of those who left behind me. This is another interesting statement that Thoth makes thousands of years before Jesus Christ, telling his disciples that he will rise again in Mark 9:31. Then beware, O men of Chem of Egypt, if ye have falsely betrayed my teaching, for I shall cast ye down from your high estate into the darkness of the caves from whence ye came. Betray not my secrets to the men of the north or the south, lest my curse fall upon ye. And remember and heed my words, for surely will I return again and require of thee that which ye guard. I, even from beyond time and from beyond death, will I return, rewarding or punishing as ye have acquitted your trust. So in the biblical text of John 14:20, Jesus declares to his followers, I go away, and again I come unto you. Tell no one, the Son of Man be risen again. Thoth says, for surely I will come again and betray not my secrets. The Bible also teaches of a judgment day, and everyone that's still living in the resurrected dead will face God's judgment. Even those who profess Christianity will find judgment through the deeds they have done in their life, according to Matthew 7:21-23, 2 Corinthians 5:10. Those who have lived righteous lives will be granted eternal life, and those who have lived evil lives will be condemned to eternal punishment. This record appears in several Bible passages, including Matthew 5:29-30, 25:31-46, and in several Bible passages, including Matthew 5:29-30, or in Mark 9:43-48. Again, these statements are very reminiscent of the same things that Thoth has said over 36,000 years before the Bible. Did Jesus preach reincarnation? Yes, he did. Reincarnation appears in the Old Testament, and read the last words of the Old Testament in the book of Malachi. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to the fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. Malachi 4:5-6. Here he is, God speaking through Malachi. He was a famous prophet, often quoted by the great leader through historical figures, including U.S. President Donald Trump, actually saying that Elijah is going to come again. Now we find Jesus making this same statement in the book of Matthew, saying, among them that are born of women there hath not risen a greater than John the Baptist. Notwithstanding, he that is least of the kingdom of heavens is greater than he. Matthew 11:11. He also says, and if ye will receive it, this is Elijah, which was for to come, Matthew 11:14, meaning his coming was prophesied, and therefore Jesus said, he came, he was beheaded, they did with him what they would, and so they will do to me. So you see a lot of this stuff that is similar. So according to the belief, water represented the nature of matter, just as the spirit represented the nature of intelligence. The words, if man is not reborn of the waters of the spirit, or in water and in spirit, might signify man is not born with his body and his soul. These words are echoed by Jesus' words. What is born of the flesh is flesh, and what is born of the spirit is spirit. Here Jesus establishes a clear distinction between body and spirit. What is born of the flesh clearly indicates that only body generates from the body, and that the spirit is independent. So you have this correlation between old ancient scriptures that were taught before this and were adapted and picked up by Jesus, who was teaching it to his followers. Are you seeing what I'm picking up here? Or are you picking up what I'm putting down here? That the teachings that Jesus learned while he was in Egypt are the same things that he was teaching to his apostles, because these ancient teachings were things that were taught to him that he was giving to them. In Matthew 3:11, John the Baptist says, I baptize you with the water, and he shall baptize you with fire. And Thoth says, and all of these things, greatest among the children of men was my Father. Thothmi, keeper of the great temple, link between the children of light. Thothmi is the Sumerian god Enki. Also, John 12:36 records the words of Jesus, beloved in the light, that they may be my children of light. Thoth also says, children of light who dwelt within the temple, and the races of men who inhabited the 10 islands, mouthpiece after the three of the dweller of Unal, speaking to the kings with a voice that must be obeyed, grew I there from a child into manhood, being taught by my father the elder mysteries, until in time there grew within the fire of wisdom, until it burst into a consuming flame. Oh man. Like I said, I mean, I can go on and on and on and on, but like I said, I mean, it just blew me away to see the similarities that we are seeing of these ancient texts and, you know, these biblical text readings that are coming from, you know, Jesus and the apostles. It's really good stuff. I love it. And this is something else. This is another passage from the Emerald Tablets. Then shall there come unto man the great warfare that shall make the earth tremble and shake in its course. I then shall the dark brothers. Now, when he talks about the dark brothers, he's talking about these dark entities that are causing these elites and these people in high places to do their bidding in order to steer men away from light and to steer them away from understanding the spiritual nature of man and to the sin, and to guide them in the wrong ways, and to drop their knowledge and their understanding at a level where they're not getting what they need to. These are the dark brothers. These are the dark ones. These are the ones that we're seeing now. Then shall the dark brothers open the warfare between light and night, when men go again shall conquer the ocean and fly in the air on wings like birds. When he has learned to harness the lightning, then shall the time of warfare begin. Great shall the battle be, twice the force, great the warfare of darkness and light, and nation shall rise against nation. Using the dark forces to shatter the earth, weapons of force shall wipe out the earthmen until half of the race of men shall be gone. This passage sounds very familiar to a similar Bible verse, and we often wonder where these writers of the Bible copied this from. Matthew 24:7, for nation shall rise against nation, and the kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Craziness. I love it. It just blew me away because, like I said, the understanding of what the similarities between what we know and what was actually being taught. Knowledge is power, folks. If you want to be kept and bound into a cycle of being in a box and think that, you know, you've got to walk this path, because if you don't, you're going to get thrown into this lake of fire. If you don't do what we tell you, you don't stay on this path, you're going to burn. But if you do what we tell you and you follow what we're telling you that they're saying that you have to do, you'll go to heaven. Yeah. The Pyramid Text, 3000 BC, a collection of ancient Egyptian spiritual texts from the walls and tombs in the ancient pyramids of Egypt that form the basis for many of the Bible-based religions around the world today. Look it up. Sumerian texts, as I've stated before, the ancient Sumerians. A collection of thousands of ancient Sumerian writings on the stone tablets depicting their culture and creation story of humanity and being ruled by the fallen gods of heaven. Their oldest known writings are the instructions Shurupak, the Kesh Temple hymn, which both have them to show up in biblical books such as Enoch and Daniel, which is why you don't see the book of Enoch in there anymore, because they did not want people to be looking at this and going, hey, wait a minute, this is from an ancient culture that we used to study. This sounds too familiar. So you erase it, you get rid of it. The Coffin Text, 24 BC. 2400 BC, I'm sorry, the collection of ancient Egyptian spiritual texts found in the coffins of ancient Egypt, consisting of incantations and spiritual formulas to help the deceased navigate through the afterlife and to prepare for the judgment day of the dead. This is where the biblical concept of the end time judgment derives from. The Ebla tablets, the collection of over 8,000 tablets, 23,000 years before. Tablets from the ancient city of Elba, Syria, written in Sumerian script. These tablets include the first known reference of the ancient Canaanites and their deity, Yah. Yah. Way. Yah. Way. If this isn't flipping your head and you're going, wait a minute, Yah. You guys don't understand. When Moses led the people out of Egypt, these people were still worshiping these Canaanite deities. You got to remember, these tribes were from everywhere, folks. All right? When Moses left and he went into the wilderness, he didn't marry an Israelite woman. You think they were worshiping Jesus or God? No, they were not. So you have Moses, who had adapted or who was living amongst the tribes of his wife, who were worshiping these different deities. You think they didn't implement it in, like it says right here? Come on now. The Hammurabi Code, 2250 BC, an 8-foot stone tablet featuring the set of over 200 written laws for human conduct among the citizens of ancient Babylon. Many of these laws were in parallel to the laws of the Israelites and the Torah, the Ten Commandments. Adaptation, folks. Like I said. The Babylonian Ark Tablet, a stone tablet from the ancient Babylon detailing a great flood that hit the earth and a man on an ark who survived it. This is said to be the oldest known story of the flood. The Sumerian Tablets of Nippur, a stone tablet with the ancient Sumerian city of Nippur featuring the creation of humanity and the culture's flood story. I mean, look at this. The gospel, I can go on and on and on and on. The Nag Hammadi scriptures, the book that I have, a collection of early Christian writings found in Egypt that were circulating during the 2nd and the 3rd century prior to the invention of Christianity. This collection is also known as the Gnosis Gospels. The Jerusalem Talmud, the collection of Jewish commentary and wisdom concerning the oral history and laws of the biblical Jews, the first Talmud ever published and its foundation of the religion of Judaism. The Codex Vaticanus, 367 AD, the first ever canonization of the biblical manuscripts. It was written in Egypt using the Greek language and is the foundation for all subsequent translations such as the Latin Vulgate. The Birmingham Quran, a collection of Muslim writings from the Arabian prophet Muhammad detailing the oral historical and culture of the Jews from an Arab perspective. This book is now called the Quran and the foundation of the Islamic religion. The Wycliffe Bible, the first complete Bible to ever be published ever and made available to be read by the public. This Bible was originally handwritten in Old English by John Wycliffe and had 80 books in it. and is the foundation of all modern Bibles. As you can see from the list above, the Bible came about very late in the game, and the dates mentioned above may not be exactly 100% accurate, but they are the best estimate of dates that I could find for all these texts. The Bible is no doubt the newest religious book to hit the scene, not coming into existence till the 14th century. It is also quite interesting how most of the biblical narratives and teachings can be found in many cultures around the world, and texts that predate the Bible, and much of the Bible was written in Egypt. Many of the ancient Egyptian concepts are found within the Bible too. Facts such as these are too revealing to be such a coincidence. Despite its origins, the Bible still provides some very good moral guidance. Yes, because it is one of the top most circulated religions, but the guidance that you are finding it is not from what you're thinking. It's ancient, folks. But if you're going to read it or live by it, I think it is at least good to know where the book comes from, and this information above helps you in the research, peace, and love. Say, folks, you got to understand something. You got to research what you're looking into. Okay? Understand what you're looking at here. Don't just go off a hinge because you're passing here reading out of this thing. All right? What is he reading to you? What is he telling you? He's teaching you teachings that are ancient. This is old stuff. So earlier I was talking about this depiction of Jesus and how Vladimir Putin had shown a picture that they had in their archives of a darker skinned Jesus, right? Where are you at? Yes, so here it is. Let's check this out and see what it's all about.
European man has come under renewed scrutiny during this period of introspection over the legacy of racism in society, and over the actuality of truth. One of the major factors of this renewed scrutiny happens to come with the buzzing news concerning certain storming revelations from Russia. For some time now, the recentness of this event has got everyone talking in wonderment. The unveiling of these icons is a powerful testament to the enduring strength of truth. The authenticity of these paintings compels us to re-evaluate our understanding of the past, particularly regarding the presence and representation of black figures. For centuries, these figures may have been shrouded in obscurity, but their rediscovery sheds light on previously untold stories, standing as a challenge to long-held assumptions, prompting us to rewrite history with a more inclusive lens. Some tend to think that the icons had blackened over time due to age, while others say that the blackness of the icons has nothing to do with age but are a measure of accuracy. The portrayal of Jesus as a white...
All right, so what they're saying is that you're going to have critics and you're going to have people talking about how, well, these pictures are just dark because they're old and they're aging. But that doesn't take into the fact that you find other countries or other places that have depictions of these people that are the same. And it's got to make sense, folks. Jesus didn't come from Europe. The apostles weren't from Europe. The people of that time were not from Europe. They were from the Middle East. They were not white. They did not have blue eyes, green eyes. They weren't walking around sitting here talking about, Jesus got blue eyes. Come on now. This is not, we're not looking at this stuff correctly, folks. We got to look at this stuff with an open mind. here and the reality of what is. Hold on real quick. So, as I said before, we are going to have that line in the sand where people are going to take and run with it because they don't want to hear nothing else. They don't want to accept the narrative of what is, or what is based on factual detailing in other cultures or other scripts from other cultures depicting what we're talking about. They don't want to change it. Oh, no, I don't want to hear it because that's not what I've been told. That's not what I've learned all my life. That's fine. I'm not telling you, but what I'm saying is, to be ignorant enough to sit here and say, well, this is the truth, when in fact it's based on something that is much older, that has nothing to do with Christianity. None. But the fact that Jesus lived in the place of Egypt, lived in Tibet, lived in India, and learned from the sages and the mystics on all of this stuff that he was teaching. Not only was he learning from them and understanding the concept of the spirit, the aspect of spiritualism and eternal and enlightenment, but he was teaching it to everybody in his teachings. He was trying to tell everybody, hey, look, I come here to prepare a path. John says, I'm here to prepare a pathway for him that is going to come after me. Now you got to remember that Jesus and John were cousins. They grew up together. They kicked it. They went outside and played. Their mom and dads hung out together at each other's houses. Their moms sat there and gossiped with each other and yada, yada, yada. You have the similarities of ancient scriptures, okay, with ancient religions and ancient cultures around the world, that Christianity adapted. Were these things similar in certain aspects? Yes, they were. You have holidays that were implemented into Christianity from pagan religion. You have deities that were implemented from pagan religions into Christianity. Jesus being one of them. December 25th was made into, Jesus's birthday. And in pagan religion, it was the solstice. It was the rising and the coming of the new sun. S-U-N, not S-O-N. But Jesus was the S-O-N of God coming. Is that a coincidence? No. Do I believe that Jesus was a yes? Do I believe that the things he was teaching were to show us a better how to live our lives to better ascend in spiritual ascension? Yes. We've got too much mixture of what was being said and what was being thrown around and then what was put together out of all of this. They just jumbled it all up into a jar, said, okay, well, we're going to take this out, we're going to leave this in, translate this stuff to the best of your abilities, which is why I'm trying to get my hands on the Aramaic version of the Bible that was translated directly from its Aramaic translation, its origin, into English. Because like I said, I want to show something to you. All right? I had posted this a long time ago on my Facebook page, and a lot of people will probably not even remember this, but like I said, I'll probably get a crap load of flack from it. So be it. I don't care. What in the hell is going on? Okay, go there, go here. And I already knew getting into this episode that I was going to catch a lot of flack from people, and people were going to be giving me a bunch of shit. Oh man, you're a blasphemer, and how could you say some things like this, raised the way you were raised? Well, I'm saying these things because of why I was raised. It didn't make sense to me. It did not make sense to me. You're going to have ancient cultures around the world that had nothing to do with Christianity, nothing to do with Yahshua. Teachings that this man went into the countries and was learning from and implemented it into his teachings because he knew, hey, I've got to show these people the way, the true meaning of enlightenment, the true meaning of being reborn, the true meaning of coming into Christ, to God, because God is in us in everything. So if God created man in his image, am I like God? Yes. He says, the things that you see me do, you shall be doing them, because the same power that is in me is in you. He's trying to teach you that don't doubt about doing what I'm telling you you can do, because the same power that I have, you can do it. Speak it into existence. Don't doubt that you can speak your life into existence, the things that you want. Speak life into a dead form. Did he not walk up and he was sitting there because he knew? When he went to go see his cousin Lazarus, and his family was sitting there crying, oh, Jesus, Jesus, we know that you can do it. And I knew that if you would come, that my son would rise back up from the dead. What did Jesus do? He walked up to that cave or that tomb where they had laid him out. He rose his hands and he said, Lazarus, come forth. He spoke it into existence. Just like you hear when people die and they're talking about their spirit leaving their body and they're hearing their family members calling back to them, and their spirit comes back. Woo. But in Lazarus' case, Lazarus had been dead for what, 3-5 days? The dude was starting to stink probably. He probably had maggots come to his body. And Jesus called his spirit back. Come back. Get back in here. He would never have done that unless he knew because they kept hounding him. So let me go back into this Lord's Prayer from Aramaic, translated directly to English. Okay? Let me put some music on too, make it nice. See if we can get it working. This is the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic to English. Listen to this. I want you to listen to the words that are in this. This ain't talking about God. It's not talking about the Heavenly Father. O cosmic birther of all radiance and vibration, soften the ground of our being and carve out a space within us where your presence can abide. Fill us with your creativity so that way we may be empowered to bear the fruit of your mission. Let each of our actions bear fruit in accordance with our desire. Endow us with the wisdom to produce and share what each being needs to grow and flourish. Untie the tangled threads of destiny that bind us as we release others from the entanglement of past mistakes. Do not let us be seduced by that which would divert us from our true purpose, but illuminate the opportunities of the present moment. For you are the ground and the fruitful vision, the birth, power, and fulfillment, as all is gathered and made whole once again, and so it shall be. Now, does that sound anything like the traditional Lord's Prayer? Not a one. Let's break this down.
What are you doing, cosmic baby? Hi. What the heck are you doing? You're such a silly baby.
So in the first paragraph, it says, cosmic birther of all radiance. What does that mean? And vibration soften the ground of our being and carve out a space within us where your presence can abide. Cosmic birther, creator of the cosmos, soften the ground of our being. What this could mean is soften our hearts and prepare a place for us where your presence can abide within us. Fill us with your creativity so that way we may be empowered to bear the fruit of your mission. Let me put this on the screen because I want you guys to see this. This is cool stuff here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And like I said, I'm probably going to get a lot of flack from this, but it's okay. All right, let me get this bigger. All right. So there we go. So as it says, O cosmic birther of all radiance and vibration, soften the ground of our being. Soften the ground of our being.
Hi, baby.
so that of a space within us where your presence can abide. Fill us with your creativity so that way we may be empowered to bear the fruit of your wisdom. So fill us with your knowledge and empower us to bear the fruit of your mission. Let each of our actions bear fruit in accordance with your desire. Endow us with the wisdom to produce and share what each being needs to grow and flourish. So give us the wisdom to understand that when we talk to other people, that we talk to them in a manner that is going to make them a better person, that is going to give them the power to endure life's hardships, that's going to be able to empower them to do the right thing, that's going to give them the wisdom to sustain themselves according to the Cosmic Birther's mission. Untie the tangled threads of destiny that bind us as we release others from the entanglement of past mistakes. Untying the tangled threads that bind us. Do not let us be seduced by that which would divert us from our true purpose. Our true purpose. You can't get it any more clearer than what I've been trying to sit here and say. Do not let us be seduced by that which would divert us from our true purpose, but illuminate the opportunities of the present moment. For you are the ground and the fruitful vision, the birth, power, and fulfillment as all gathered and made whole once again. And so it is. So the enlightenment that we get from understanding our true nature by the one that endowed us with these powers, the Creator, the birthmic, the cosmic birther, is what he was called. So this is Jesus' prayer. This isn't mine. These are what Jesus said when he was sitting in the garden. The Lord's Prayer. Like I said, folks, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Come on now. Give us this day our daily bread, and lead us not into temptation, for thine is the power. Oh, come on, man. Does this sound anything like that? No. Not one bit. Now you see what I'm talking about when you go back and you translate from Aramaic to English. The words sound nothing like what we've been taught, does it? No, it does not. So if we were to go back and read and translate what the Bible actually said or what the actual translation was, what do you think we're going to find?
Is that yours?
She's over here calling me, trying to show me something. She's so funny. I love her.
You little girl.
All right. So the reason why I wanted to do this was to show a little bit of the I don't want to say it's the deceptive nature of what we've been taught, but I want to say that it's where we've been led away from the true nature of what we were supposed to know and learn and be taught. Okay? Now, I had also posted a lot of videos of the Aramaic translation that they were finding about the number of the beast. Let me see. Oh, that's just me. Never mind. I don't want that. Um, whoops. Let me see. I got some people that are trying to get on, and not sure if it worked, but if it did, Kool-Aid. Let me see. So, like I said before, when you're looking at the translation of these biblical teachings and you're trying to understand, like, why is this, you know, this sounds nothing like what we've been taught at all. And like I said, as you can see, this is from his mouth, from Aramaic to English, because we know that Joshua did not speak English. He didn't speak Greek. He didn't speak Latin. He didn't speak any other language. He spoke Aramaic. So if he was sitting there in that Olive Garden and he was sweating blood and he knew the time was coming and he was like, Father, if there's any way for you to take this from me, take this cup from me, let it be. But if not, then I'll go ahead and do it. And he said this prayer. O cosmic birther of all radiance and vibration, soften the ground of our being and carve out a space within us where your presence can abide. Fill us with your creativity so that we may be empowered to bear the fruit of your mission. Let each of our actions bear fruit in accordance with our destiny, and endow us with the wisdom to produce and share with each other, with each being, or what each being needs to grow and flourish. Untie the tangled threads of destiny that bind us as we release others from the entanglement of past mistakes. Do not let us be seduced by that which would divert us from our true purpose, but illuminate the opportunities of the present moment. For you are the ground and the fruitful vision, the birth, the power, and fulfillment as all gathered and made whole once again. And so it is. So if you can picture Joshua sitting in that garden and saying this prayer, it doesn't sound like what our Father who art in heaven, right? O cosmic birther of all radiance. Sounds like, and vibration, soften the ground of our being. The nature of why we need to do our due diligence in understanding the passages that we are being read, being indoctrinated with. Like I said, folks, I'm not saying that there isn't a God. I'm not saying that Jesus wasn't real. I'm not saying that Joshua wasn't real. What I'm saying is that what we've been taught is not the true nature of what we were taught, what he was saying. And this right here shows it. He's sitting here saying, "Oh, cosmic birther of all radiance and vibration." Give me a minute. All right. So what I'm saying is this: if you can take this, okay, and understand that this translation is something that is totally different than what we've been taught growing up. Imagine the whole construct of the Bible, especially now knowing that the verses and some of the passages were taken from ancient scripts and were brought in and implemented into the Bible. Now you're starting to see the whole translation and the narrative of what they were trying to tell us is not exactly what people were telling you, what they were trying to say, but it's what the people who created it wanted it to say. Okay. So with that being said, as I said before, it's really hard for me, as I stated, this is just me, folks. You can take this with a grain of salt, keep walking the walk that you're walking. So be it. That's your choice. I'm not telling you to change. All I'm saying is hey, check this out. Do your due diligence. Look at yourself. Make that discernment for yourself. It's like, somebody who plays a video game for so long, and then somebody comes along and goes, hey, did you know that there's a different way to do this, but it's still going to help you get to where you need to get? That's going to help you. Nah, man, leave me alone. I'm already freaking doing this thing. I've been doing this for so long. I know this crap in and out. Well, I didn't know because there's a different way of doing this, and it's going to help you. I'm just trying to show you. But what you're doing is not it's not the way that was meant for you to be doing it. What are you talking about, man? It works for me. Yeah, it might work for you, but you're missing the whole true nature of what is being said and what is being told to you. If you're missing the bigger picture, all you're doing is just swallowing stuff that's not really going to help you. So if the true nature and the true meaning of what was supposed to be told to us was corrupted, entangled, and misinterpreted by people saying it over and over, changing it out, somebody else saying it, changing it out, somebody's implementing words that they want to say. As you can see in this Lord's Prayer from Aramaic, the whole picture, it's different. So if we're not getting the true meaning, the true narrative of what was supposed to be taught to us, are we just going along with the narrative? Of course. Because our moms did it, because our dads did it, because our family members took us, because that's what we learned when we were growing up. So we just followed it and we taught it to our kids. So it was like, well, that's what my parents did. I had to make that choice to say, okay, I need to look this up. I need to figure this out, because like I said, this did not make sense to me. And the more I dove into it and the more I realized, hey, there's something bigger going on here. I had to wake up and make that decision, not only just for myself, but to try and help other people around me understand the true nature of what was really going on. So as I said, you could take it for what it's worth. You could take it however you want. But I've always known that there was something else going on. There's something that needed to be said, something that was different. And for myself, in researching and doing this and getting these Gnostic Bibles or these Gnostic passages, I had to see it for myself. I had to understand that this is not what I thought. And it makes sense to me in my spirit because now I understand that what we were taught is not the actual teachings and understanding of what Yahshua and the apostles were trying to get their point across to every human being that they came across. It makes more sense to me now. And I hope it makes more sense to you too. And I hope that helps. And I hope that you take this and you do your own due diligence and you do your own research into it. And like I said, if not, and this is, you know, if if you're just like, yeah, whatever, I'm cool, then keep doing your own thing. It's all good. I'm not here to force anything in anybody's throat. So give me a minute. I'm going to take care of something real quick and I'll be right back. All right, I'm sorry. I had to go check on my lasagna. Like I said, it's just me and my little here, so I'm gonna be doing a little bit of running back and forth. So, as I stated before, I hope it helps, and I hope that you can look at this and be. I know I'm gonna get a shit ton of flack for this. That's fine. You know that comes with the territory, so it is what it is. And like I said, if you guys have not looked into this, all right, the Gospels, the Master Collection. Okay, this is I highly urge you to do it, to read it, look into it. The complete Apocrypha, the Master Collection. These are also the other books that were left out of the Bible. The main book of Enoch. Why Enoch was a also the Book of Giants. And this book is very rare. Check it out, look it up. The Gospel of the 12, the Holy 12. Highly recommend that you read this one as well. Because if you want to get the whole picture of what is being said to you, and you want to get the whole picture of the complete Gospels under one roof, let me give you a translation real quick of what I'm talking about. Let's read a couple passages from this Gospel of Thomas real quick. All right, so because of the Gnostic undertones, the Gospel of Thomas was not included in the Christian Bible canon. Gnosticism and early Christian sect believed in historic knowledge as the path to salvation rather than faith alone. While the Gospel of Thomas was not embraced by the Orthodox Christian Church, it provides invaluable insight into the practices of early Christian communities and offers a unique perspective on Jesus' teachings. So let's check this out. He stated that those who uncover the meaning of these statements will not experience death. Jesus remarked, those who search should persist in their quest until they uncover. Upon discovery, they will experience turmoil. In their disturbance, they will be amazed and will achieve dominion. And after their rule, they will find repose. Jesus conveyed, if your leaders proclaim, behold, the Father's realm is in the heavens, then the birds of the sky will precede you. If they declare it is residing in the sea, then the fish will precede you. Instead, the Father's realm exists both within you and outside of you. Why does he say that? Because like I stated before, God is in everything. So if we are created in God's image, are we not? And he's breathed his life into every essence of man. His very breath is in man. The soul of man is God, is an essence of God. Are we not, in essence, a being that is a part of God? Yes. When you fathom yourself, you will then be recognized, and you will realize that you are offspring of the living Father. However, without self-awareness, you dwell in destitution, and you are that destitution. Jesus commented, every person will not hesitate to question a newborn of 7 days about the nature of life, and that individual will live on. For many of the first will become last, and they will transform into a unified whole. Jesus taught, comprehend what lies before you, and that concealed will be unveiled to you. For nothing remains hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing remains buried that will be not raised. His disciples inquired, saying, do you desire us to abstain from food? How should we engage in prayer? Ought we to give to the needy? What dietary rules should we follow? Jesus said, abstain from falsehood and from engaging in what you despise. For all things are laid bare before the heavens. After all, there is nothing concealed that will not be uncovered, and there is nothing concealed that will not be revealed. He also stated, fortunate is the lion that the human consumes, thereby transforming the lion into a human. Unfortunate is the human that the lion consumes, as the lion will still become human. He added, a person as keen to be a skilled angler who casts a net into the sea and retrieves it, finding it full of small fish. Among them, the skilled angler identifies a blended sizable fish, and the angler releases all the small fish back into the sea, effortlessly selecting the large fish. Let anyone with receptive ears heed this. He also explained, visualize the sower venture out, took a handful of seeds and dispersed them, Some fell on the pathway. The birds came and collected them. Others fell on the rocky ground, failing to take root in the soil and thus yielding no grain. Yet others fell amid thorns, suffocating the seeds, which were consumed by worms. Finally, some fell on the fertile soil, producing a bountiful harvest and yielding sixfold and hundredfold, 20-fold, hundredfold and 120-fold. Jesus declared, I have ignited a fire in the world, and behold, I am safeguarding it until it ignites fully. He also stated that heaven will fade away, and the ones above it will fade away as well. The deceased are not living, and the living will not die. In the days when you consumed what lacks life, you brought it to life. When you are illuminated, what will you do? On the day when you were unified, you became divided. Yet when you were divided, what will you do? The disciples said to him, we understand that you will depart from us, but who will guide us? Jesus said to them, whoever you are, go to James the just, for the sake of whom heaven and earth emerged. Jesus said to the disciples, analyze me and liken me to something, then tell me what I resemble. Simon Peter told him, you are like an upright messenger. Matthew said, you are like a wise philosopher. Thomas said, teacher, my mouth is wholly incapable of expressing what you are like. Jesus said to him, I am not your teacher. Since you have partaken of the spring that I have nourished, you have become intoxicated. And he took him and withdrew and spoke 3 sayings to him. And when Thomas returned to his companions, they inquired, what did he tell you? What did he say? Thomas said to them, if I reveal one of the sayings he spoke to me, you will pick up stones and pelt me, and a fire will emerge from the stones and consume you. Jesus said to them, abstain from food, you will cause sin to accrue to yourself, and you pray and you will be judged. And if you bestow alms, you will compromise your spirit. Wherever you enter any region and wander into the countryside, when they receive you, eat what is presented to you, and heal the sick among them. Remember, it is not what enters your mouth that defiles you. Instead, it is what issues forth from your mouth that defiles you. When you perceive one who has not been born from a woman, prostrate yourself and worship. That one is your Father. Jesus said, perhaps people assume that I have come to cast peace upon the world, yet they do not recognize that I have come to cast division upon the earth. Fire, sword, conflict. For there will be 5 in a household, 3 will be against 2, and 2 against 3, father against son, and son against father, and they will stand alone. I will give you what no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, what no has touched, and what has not arisen in the human heart. The disciples said to Jesus, tell us, how will our end come? And he said, have you found the beginning? Then that you are searching, then why are you searching for the end? You see, the end will be where the beginning is. Fortunate is the one who stands at the beginning, and that one will understand the end and will not experience death. I'm telling you, there's just so much inside of this thing that it's freaking, I love it. The Gospel of Mary. The teachings that Jesus brought to his disciples and that he was himself giving to them about the enlightenment of the world is something that, as I stated, taking the true nature of what he was trying to convey to people and trying to say to them, with the aspect of spiritual ascension, when he went to the temple and they were, the tax, they were collecting taxes and they were holding, like a supermarket in the temple, and he was like, you guys are sitting here defiling the house of my Father and, throwing the tables around. What he was trying to tell them is that you're defiling the very essence of what you're claiming to be. You're claiming to be righteous people and people walking in the faith and walking in the light, but you're sitting here doing ungodly things in this temple. when he was telling people that we are the temple, God dwells in us, and that the path to God lies within us. The beginning is the end, and the end is the beginning, and those who stand at the beginning will know no end. I think that when people look at this, the teachings that were given to us,
Hi, baby.
they look at the teachings that were given to us and that were being taught to us with the correct interpretation of what was being said and what was being proclaimed by Jesus, in trying to show people the true way, the nature of life. I think that the true nature of life itself, and people are sitting here praying, oh, save us, save us, save us, when the essence of being saved and the ability to do so lies within us. We are the masters of our destiny. We are in control of this life. We are in control of the aspect that follows us from beginning to the end. And as he said, those who stand at the beginning will never know the end. Whoops. All right. Can you hear me now? That sounds so much better. All buzzing and crackling all over the place. But as I said, I'm going to get a lot of flack from this, and I understand it, but that's just something that comes along with the territory of realizing the true nature of what we are and who we are and why we are here. And doing your due diligence and in your true nature experience of life and religion and the aspects of deities that people worship. I'm not saying go out and freaking worship a bull. I'm not saying all that. But as human beings, we ourselves are beings of light. Whether we become consumed by darkness or we allow that darkness to consume us, that is what he was trying to say is do not let these things. You're talking about, well, what are we going to eat? If you're not going to eat, it's not about what you're eating. It's about what comes out of you. Don't worry about what you're eating. Worry about what you're saying to people. Worry about what comes out of your mouth, your actions that makes you evil. You're born in this world, but you're not of it. Wow, that's a pretty big analogy. If we're born in this world, aren't we of this world? Because this is our home. And he's literally telling us, your soul was brought to this earth. You were born in it, but you weren't from here. This isn't your home. This isn't who you are. This isn't where you're going to stay. From the earth you came, and to the earth you shall return. But your spirit will leave here and be gone. So it doesn't seem like a lot of people are really interested in this topic today, because I'm like, Everybody's gone. Oh, Christ. And even the analogy of the cross was something that was not implemented into it until way later on. Way later on.
Hello.
Hi. And with that being said, you know, people are like, well, did Jesus die on a cross? I don't believe that he died on a cross. I believe that, you know, he was meant to be crucified or elevated or hung. But there's even some gospels that are the Gospel of Barnabas, which says that Jesus wasn't even crucified. It was him that was killed. That at the time that they went into the garden, Jesus fled. They thought that he was Jesus. He took his place and was killed. And martyred in his place. And as I said, you don't have to take my word for it. Look it up for yourself. But these are books that were left out of the Bible. Why? Because if they could unify everybody under one religion, under one gospel, to have that control, they could do it. And what better way to do it than to make Christ a savior? To hide the true teachings and to hide the true meaning of your salvation, of your life beyond this world, beyond this realm. The true nature of who we are as human beings, the true nature of why we're here. They would not want that. Why? Because they wouldn't have control. They wouldn't be able to control the population. They wouldn't be able to control the masses. They'd have chaos ensuing. And not only would they be able to do that, but, you know, let's put in there some things about tithes so that way we can get paid while we're doing this too. You see these little implementations of things, and you're thinking that this omnipotent God, this all-seeing God would actually say some little things like, oh, well, you got to pay your tithes or else. That's a law. That's a law. You got to do it. If a man beats his slave and the slave dies, then the man's forgiven. But if the beats his slave and the slave lives, God dang. You know what I mean? That it just it's always baffled me. So as I stated before, if this is something that, you know, you guys are interested in, obviously not, because not everybody's watching it. Usually I have like 10, 12 people on here. But it is Friday night, and a lot of people here in town are at the bars right now. So hopefully everybody will see it later on and get a chance to see it later on, because the episodes are actually weird. And hopefully this episode helps you out and gives you a little bit of understanding to be able to do your own research into this stuff. And like I said, I mean, it's not for everybody. It's not something that a lot of people look into, but it is what it is. And for me, on the path that I'm looking at and delving with myself and getting myself prepared or being able to deal with spiritually, at getting myself knowledgeable on my ability through the Creator, and understanding that I am promised and I am more powerful than what I am being led on to be, that I was taught. My understanding of who I am and where I am and how I am capable of ascending and being better at being not only just a teacher to my kids, but to other people, to help other people understand that this life is so much different when you look at it through these lenses of truth, I guess you could say, by opening up and understanding that when you things, it's not what we've been taught. It's not what we know, or it's not what we understand it to be. It is totally different. So I hope that with whatever aspect of your life that you're in, whatever your faith may be, whatever happens in your life, understand this, that the light of the Creator and all that is in this universe resides in you, resides in every aspect of your being, who you are, what you are, the power and the ability to be something better. Your capability of being able to speak into existence things in your path of life. I'm not going to sit here and grovel on the ground and oh God, I need you to come and pay my bills. No, look, I'm going to speak these things into existence. I'm going to speak what I want it to be mine into existence, because like they said, in the nature of what we are and who we are, the power and the abilities and the capabilities of who we are, we have those same powers and those abilities. Just like Jesus was trying to teach his apostles and telling them the same things that you see me do, you can do. But they were so doubtful because their knowledge and their aspect of being who they were meant to be, they couldn't comprehend that. They couldn't comprehend that. How am I able to do this? I'm not the Son of God. Yes, you are. We are all sons and daughters of God, the Creator, the true Creator. The powers and the capabilities that we have come from Him because He is in us. He is in every last one of us. And that goes back to what's saying in other episodes, is that you have people throughout history that are endowed with these brilliant capabilities of technology, of understanding, of being able to see things that haven't happened yet, that haven't taken place. And then they happen, creating things that people never thought would have happened. Centuries of lost texts, lost knowledge, cultures that had the ability to create flying objects, that were able to have weapons, heal people, cure people. The knowledge of into the future and into the past. These abilities do not just come with people who are holy, do not just come with people who are sent by the divine. When people focus, like he says, the people who understand who they are and what they're capable of doing, they call it gnosis. Reaching that level of gnosis, knowing oneself, knowing who you are in Christ, in God. That's what Yahshua was trying to tell everybody. When you come into the knowing and the realization of what you are in God, God in you, the capabilities of what you're able to do are endless. As you see me reading, he states, you won't even know death. So, like I said, when you read these texts and you read into these gospels and you see the translation of what he was actually really trying to tell people, it will blow you away. I was looking at a video the other day of one of my favorite stories, right? The parable of the rich man and the poor man. There's a man sitting outside of the gates of this establishment. This guy's like, sitting there begging. He has nothing. He's, on his last leg, but this rich man has everything. And he's like, well, I don't want to hear what you have to say. And I don't want to have anything to do with, the prophets were coming and telling, we'll give up everything that you come and follow us. In order to be a follower of, Christ. And the rich man's like, well, I can't really do that because, I got a lot of important stuff I got to do. And I'm a really important guy. And if I give this stuff all up, then I'm not going to have any. I can't be living in rags and, walking in the desert and eating whatever the heck you guys are eating. I can't do that. And the poor man was like, I'll do it. I can do that. Because he understood and seeing and understanding what they were trying to tell him. This world is nothing. Everything you have is nothing. It doesn't mean anything. You hold on to these things like it's going to save you, and it's not. Because all of this will fade away. All of this will be gone. There will be no more. But your spirit, when you die, that is what is eternal. That's what matters. Get yourself right. Understand. Realize that when you die and you leave this world, you will come back. But if you're not right and spiritually ready for that, you will not return. You'll die. So as the parable goes, the rich man dies. He goes to hell because he didn't submit to what the prophets were trying to tell him. And he's in so much torment, and he's yelling to Moses and I believe it's Isaiah or Ezekiel in hell, and he's telling them, please, please, please get a message to my brother and tell them not to fall in my footsteps. And, can I just please get some water to quench my tongue? And they're telling him, they have people to listen to. We don't need you. You're not going to return back to go do this. They have prophets. Let them hear what they have to say and understand what they're telling him. If he doesn't understand, he's going to be here just like you are. And he's in torment and he's suffering. And he's like, please just let me tell everybody that I was wrong. The understanding that getting it right while you're here is the key. That reaching that level of gnosis to be able to reach that elevation status of saying, okay, I understand, I get it. This is what I need to do while I'm here. So when I'm gone, I don't come back. I don't have to. That I won't suffer and have to keep repeating this horrible mess over and over and over and over and over again. I won't have to suffer and have to keep dealing with this crap of suffering and going through life and the torment and the pain and the sickness and the losing loved ones. That's hell. That's true hell. I don't think I could come back. And like I said, do I believe that I was reincarnated from my grandmother's brother? Yes, I do. I believe that I came back from this life to experience life because I wasn't able to fulfill it, to be able to finish it the way I wanted to. So I came back and I went through the same crap I went through last time. The coincidences are too eerily similar. Both young men. I had a family. I don't believe he had kids. Went to combat at the same age. They're in a conflict. Faced the enemy. He gave up his life. Died at the same age I was when I was there and almost died. I survived. Came home. Was able to start, live and see my family and watch my kids grow up now. I'm learning. I'm trying to get this life right so that way I don't have to come back and repeat this crap all over again. That's not what I want. I don't want to have to do that. I don't think anybody does. But that's the whole thing of it, folks, is however you want to see it, however you want to slice and dice it, having to repeat this over is hell. Your hell is having to come back and repeat this over and experience this hell on earth. That's the torment. I couldn't see myself having to redo this over and over and over and over and over again for however long it takes me to do it. You know what I mean? I don't think I can. I don't want to. Which is why I said I want to get it right. I want to make sure that I'm living this life the best that I can and passing that on to my children. And I just hope that everybody is able to see that and understand it and not be led by the lie that is being told to you and that you're succumbing to. Because if you don't understand that what you're doing and what you're following the crowd of you're going by ancient paganism worship that is just brought over into a new name and a new form of religion. That's all you're doing. They're telling you it's one thing. They adapted it from old pagan ritualistic style religions, putting a new face on it, putting a new date and holiday name on it, and telling you, okay, well, this is how you're going to have to get to heaven if you worship and do what we're telling you to do. This is what the real true God is trying to teach you. And it's all a lie. I'm not saying it's a lie verbatim, but I'm saying that it's not being told to you correctly. It's not what you're thinking it is. And I pray that the true knowledge that you guys understand and you get that it is given to you guys and that you guys will understand it, and that the people that have ears to hear and eyes to see will discern the reality of what the truth is. I know this is probably going to go down as one of the episodes that I'm just going to take the brunt force of. I know that already, and it is what it is. But as I said, it's not all ghosts and aliens and ancient philosophies and texts and all that stuff, and we'll be able to get into that stuff in another episode. But this is just that I wanted to touch on because I've been thinking about it for a while and touch on it every now and then. And I hope, like I said, just passing that on to everybody, that whatever you choose to believe, whatever your heart is telling you your faith is, then that's your destiny. You go with it. But it's kind of like, that person that's standing in a crowd that's watching, it's like that movie, Don't Look Up. You're sitting here screaming at it because you're so frustrated, and you're like, why can't you understand what I'm trying to tell you? See the truth. And everybody's like so used to just this narrative that they're just like, yeah. Anyway, so I got to pick up my laundry today, and the fucking world's ending. Wake the fuck up. Oh, okay. You're so desensitized and so used to what you've been told and what you're seeing, you don't care. We have lost our way. We have lost our path to where we are supposed to be. Jesus even said, the chosen are few. Only few of people will understand and realize what he was really trying to teach us. He was sent here. He realized he had a blessing and a calling on his life to teach people the true nature and the true path of humanity. That times are going to get worse. They're going to get hard. It's going to get crazier. And the people that are going to be able to understand the knowledge that he was trying to implement and teach people, not everybody's going to get it. Not everybody's going to understand. And a lot of people don't want to see Jesus as a man that had a family, or a man that could have a relationship with a woman. Come on. The bloodline of Jesus Christ exists to this day, which is why you've seen the freaking church trying to kill all these thousands of people. They were trying to root them out. And even when the people left Europe and came to America, why do you think you had so many people getting killed during the witch trials? They were trying to exterminate them. That's a whole nother subject for another day. But it goes hand in hand with what I'm saying. Is that people don't realize, yes, take it for what you want. Did Mary and Jesus have a child? Children? A son and a daughter. Then you had the bloodline that came from that into the royalty that you see now, the Merovingians. It's a known fact. Why do you see that little girl, have you ever seen that she did that research on all the presidents of the United States are all related except for who? One. And guess who that person is? Donald Trump. He is not related by any blood to any of the presidents in history. But every single one of the presidents in date in history is related. How crazy is that? I wonder why. I wonder why. You got this man that's being persecuted by the left because he's trying to do something to get this country back on straight, and they're trying to take him out. He's an outsider. But going back to that bloodline of Christ, if you have somebody who was trying a controversial figure, okay, and like I said before, does this mean that I don't believe that Jesus was a holy man? I believe that he was a man trying to spread a message to try and get people on track because he was endowed with the abilities to freaking teach everybody about what was going to happen. Just like we had people that have done it before, trying to get humanity back on track, and nobody wanted to listen. So here comes destruction. Boom. Fucked. Another race of human beings is created and made into to pick up where we were left off in. Destroyed. Flood comes, destroys them. Human beings adapt to come back again and repopulate the earth. Here comes Jesus, trying to teach people how to freaking live and going off of the ancient teachings that were taught, that he was being given while he was in Egypt and India and in India and Tibet. Do I think that he was blessed with the knowledge? Yes, I do. Just like freaking Buddha, just like freaking any of the other famous teachers that had come before him and were trying to get people on track to save us from freaking the end. But like I said, touchy subject. A lot of people don't want to talk about it, and a lot of people end up losing people out of their lives because of it. Why? Why does this have to be a controversial subject where it's where, I don't want to have anything to do with you because you're talking some nonsense that I don't want to believe. You're talking something crazy. It's the devil. Come on, man. This is the same narrative that we see that what he's talking about. As you just heard me talking about out of the scriptures that were taken out, the Gospel of Thomas. It's not about what you eat. It's about what comes out of your mouth that makes it evil. So speaking and telling somebody that they're evil because they're trying to freaking understand the narrative outside of this box, and you're sitting here talking about you're evil and you're going to go to hell and you're this and that, blah, 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 blah. But you're not even understanding true nature of what the teachings were being taught. And for somebody to try and sit here and say, okay, well, wouldn't it make sense that this teachings that were hidden out of the book that were original teachings, wouldn't that make sense? No. That's baloney. I don't know what to tell you. The old saying says you can't lead a horse to water. Or you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Take it for what you want, folks. Like I said, I'm not here to shove it down your throat. I'm just saying this is what I'm finding out through my research and through my understanding of what it is. And I still have a lot to go through. I still have a lot to decipher and to read and to go over. But I'm doing that for my benefit, for myself, spiritually, because I have, this is, like I said, this is something that I have been pondering over since I was young. Something never felt right, but this makes sense to me. And if it makes sense to you, Please look into it. If it makes sense to you, everything that we've been taught, everything that we know is not, it just does not sit well with me. And it hasn't. Did you know that the complete Bible, the only complete and original Bible to exist that's old, is the Ethiopian Bible? Has 80 books. 80 books. And it's the original complete text. But yet we're trying to spew and talk all this religious jibber jabber on just a few. Exactly. And as I said, when you can have more control over people on a narrative that is something that will keep people in line, and you can take out the things that are going to take less power away from your control and remove those books, get it out of history, which is why you see a lot of times a lot of the historical events or things that are hidden from the public or things that are hidden from societies, hidden from mainstream media, hidden from people that are trying to find the truth. It's like I hate to use this analogy, but it's kind of like, a person who's an addict, right? I have the answers, but if I can take it and hide the answers, but just give you a little bit to that person to be like, oh, well, keep them under my control to do what I want and just keep feeding them tidbits, that person's still going to be in darkness, but they're going to feed off of it because I'm giving them what they want. And it's the only thing that they know, because I'm not giving you the whole truth. I'm keeping you in control with what I have. I don't know. That was kind of stupid, but anyway, you know what I'm saying? And that's what we have here. You have the Roman Catholic Church who organized this whole thing. Then you have these, you got like 50 freaking branches of Christianity. It's so diverse and so broken up that these people can't even figure out their own shit. No, that's not what he said. No, well, it is. Well, you're wrong. And you got Jojo over there, Pastor so-and-so from this other church saying something totally different. But yet you're going to sit here and tell people that are like-minded like me that are discussing all this stuff that we're wrong? Please. Please. Save it. So as you see in a lot of times, it's one of those things where I don't talk about this stuff unless it's brought up and somebody asks me. I don't bring it to the table. I don't bring it to parties. I don't bring it to freaking family get-togethers. I don't do that. It's just like, talking about politics. I will not say anything unless somebody brings it up. But I'm that family member that when you bring it up and I start talking to you about it and you're just like, oh, fuck, I shouldn't have said anything. Right on, cuz. And like you're saying, a lot of this whole divine feminine thing is something that's, like I said, it's in the Gnostic Gospels, the Gospels that were hidden and taken out of the Bible, that were not added or not implemented into it during the Council of Nicaea under the Roman Emperor Constantine, when they, started putting the Bible together. So now you have the divine feminine, anemone, Sophia. And I'm not sure that a lot of people understand or know about Sophia, is said to be the female deity that is the God. The all being is a feminine deity named Sophia, the creator, where all essence comes from. And that is something that a lot of people also, like I said, this is something that is a very wide topic. It's not something that is just like, well, I can talk about it in 10 minutes and that's it. This is something that will take like 2, 3, 4 episodes of getting into and discussing. But this is what I'm saying, is that the leading of this, when people are just looking at this narrow aspect, when it's, you're driving down the road and you're only seeing this, what's in your headlights, but you have all this other stuff that you're missing, that you're not understanding, because this is the only thing that you've been taught and you're being shown, you're being seen. You're like a horse with blinders on. I'm only going to see what I'm supposed to see in front of me, because this is what I know. And when somebody comes and takes them off, you're like, holy shit. There's more to this than what I thought. And usually that's the way it is. That's how it goes. And that's what this whole thing of spiritual awakening is about, is taking those blinders off and realizing this is what you've been missing out on. This is what you've been hidden from, or this is what's been hidden from you. Is this making sense to anybody? I know I'm just talking, and I really hope that it's making sense. If it is, please just tell me so I'm not like rambling on. But then again, like I said, this is why I did this podcast, and this is why I did this, is because I want people to be able to have these discussions. And if you are like-minded and you do believe the same thing, or you do understand what I'm trying to tell you, then cool. And for those that have heard it or looking into it and not know much about it, please look into it, because it's worth it. It's something that is going to change your life and that is going to make your life aspects better. So I hope that everybody has a great weekend. And I hope that everybody is safe. Give me a minute. All right. All right. So I got it. Um, having said that, what are your thoughts? How do you guys feel about it? Is it something that you agree with? Do you not agree with it? Is it something that you've heard about, that you've experienced in your life? Is it something that um and this, like I said, this is something that I've always felt since I was little. And the main thing for me was when I started getting back into meditation, and I started get back into looking at holistic ways of, healing myself with sickness, or um, mentally preparing myself, or getting my mind straight, um, with aspects of not really. I don't consider myself religious at all. I don't believe in religions um, anymore. I don't believe that religion is the answer. I don't believe that that is going to save anybody. I believe that the only way that people are going to be able to escape this prison of hell on this earth is by spiritually awakening themselves and understanding that they will be better by spiritually awakening and making themselves better mentally. Um, and I hope that in whatever aspect of your life that you are facing, that you can know your worth, know your capabilities of who you are. And one of the things I always tell my kids is that there is nobody else like you. I never understood that until I became, until, I got older and I started realizing that, my self worth is that, there's nobody like me. I am me. I am the only one of me. There's nobody like me. But what you see in society today is that mainstream things is that they're trying to get everybody alike. If you're not like us, you're an outsider. If you're not like this, or you're not dressing like this, or you're not trending like this, or you're not doing things that these people are doing, you're an outsider. You have to be the same these days. Being the same and not being unique, like not being a unique individual, is not cool anymore. You got to be in with the in crowd. You got to be like us. Do what we're doing. Say what we say, and dress how we dress. This is what the world is coming to. And for me, with the meditation and the spiritual aspect of life and the way things are, it has helped me to better understand not only myself, I guess, in a way, but my place on this earth, and dealing with life and dealing with every aspect of life. um, I can understand my path a little better, I guess, as if that makes sense. Um, and it helps me understand a little bit more of why um, I am here, who I am, and be able to better myself, not only physically but mentally, but not doing it in a slaving mentality. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense, because if it doesn't, then whatever, I'm just dumb. But if, like I said, if this is you and this is how you feel, you're not alone. Feeling like the confines of this life are, it's a cell, it's hell, it's a prison, It is something that not many people can break free from. Not many people can stop and say, hey, this doesn't feel right. There's got to be something more to this. There's got to be something better than this. And there is. There is something better than this. There is something more to this life. And I wish that everybody, and I wish that for everybody, I wish that everybody can understand that and realize that please don't get caught up in this thing of religion that's keeping you bound, or that's keeping you a subject to fear. If you don't do this, you're going to burn in a lake of fire. Get out of here, man. This is not going down this way. I refuse to be subjugated to this anymore. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Sorry. And like I said, I chose to break free from that. I chose to be outside of that box because I don't want that life. Not just for me, but for my kids. I don't want my kids having to grow up and being, oh man, we got to go to church again, and if we don't, then we're gonna burn in a lake of fire, yada yada yada. No, it's not gonna happen. I refuse to let that happen. There is more to this life. There is more to the essence of who we are and why we were created. And the power that we hold as beings that were created in the image of the Creator. The very essence of who he or who or she is in all of us. Is in everything on this planet, in this universe. Our very essence of who we are and what we are is in the stars. Think of that. My God. Can you fathom the idea that you, this individual being in your living room, in your house, in your room, has a spiritual and a cellular connection to the universe? You do. And if you realize that and you can understand that, the sooner the better. Like I said, when the time comes and you have to leave this plane and your mortal body is gone and your spirit, your energy goes back to this Creator of the universe, the all omnipotent being, you don't have to come back here and say, oh man, I got to do this all over again. For somebody to sit here and tell you that this all creative being is telling you that if you don't do what I tell you, you're going to burn in a lake of fire because that's your destiny. But if you follow my rules, and as I showed you before, those rules that they established and adapted into this religion are not from this God given to Moses. These are old pagan rules that were in cultures thousands of years before this. So if you're telling me that God gave this to this man, but this man got it and got it written down on tablets that God told him to put down, he wrote it with his finger, but it's from ancient cultures that had the same commandments thousands of years before that, So what? He just decided to say, okay, well, these people are special and I'm going to pick these other people too. But now your religion's going to come along and say that those people that got those same decrees and those same words from God are wrong. But you adapted their lifestyle, right? They also had virgin births. They also had people that died and were resurrected and came back to life and were proclaiming that they were the true way in the life. But because somebody canonized these scriptures and put them together the way they wanted to and made this person a Christ to get you to subjugate to them. I'm not saying that what he was teaching or what Yahshua was saying was not true. What I'm saying is that the interpretation of what the man was trying to spiritually tell everybody was taken out of context. The true teachings of what he was saying, if you look at that, the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic, like I just had showed earlier in the podcast, if that's the prayer that Jesus was telling them to say, the Lord's Prayer, is nothing like what was being told in the Bible. Nothing. So if that one piece of evidence in itself does not show you that what you are looking at God damn it, that you were reading in here, this canonized version interpreted from the Greek and Latin into English based on the actual wording from Aramaic to English, you're missing the whole picture. The whole picture. And like I said, if that is the path that you choose to keep following, by all means do. I wish you the best. I really do. But if you are like so many countless others who are waking up to the realization that this has all just been a farce, and that the true nature and the true teachings and the true meanings of who we are and why we're here and our capabilities of who we are as human beings, sons and daughters of the true God, the creator that lives in every aspect of everything in this life, the powers and the divinity that he had given to Jesus Christ is the same thing that we also have. That's what he was trying to teach you. Hey, look at me. You see what I'm doing? You can do it too, buddy. Don't look at me as a freaking savior. Just trying to come and show you the way. I'm trying to get you to where I'm at. So many, the parables in the Bible, man. Jesus walking on water. They're out there fishing, and this big old storm comes along, and they're like, "Oh man, we're never gonna make it out of here." Here comes Jesus strolling on the water, and he tells Thomas, "Come on, get out of the boat and come and walk to me. You can do it. I'm doing it. The same power that you're seeing me do is the same thing that you can do. Come on." He doubted because he was not there spiritually. He was not at that level of gnosis. Understanding one's self. And like I said, I just read it in that Gnostic text of Thomas. Jesus said, when a person knows their self, death will not touch them. If you understand the capabilities of who you are and what you're capable of doing, you'll unlock the keys of everything, because you will understand. Death will not hold its sway over you. You are eternal. We are all eternal beings. The only reason why we live and we die was because we were meant to be eternal, this flesh. But seeing that people were being implemented by these dark ones, and they didn't want these people living for 700 years anymore. They didn't want them living for 900 years, 1200 years, 2400 years. They didn't want them doing that. So they cut their lifespan down to 120 years. If we can stop the flesh from living and being corrupted, those who understand and are able to comprehend and to reach that level of gnosis will be able to they will understand. It's like having that key. If you can get that key and understand what its capabilities are, you've reached that point of knowledge, of gnosis. And that's what I hope everybody gets to. I'm striving to get there myself. Shoot. You ain't the only one. But I know that there are others who are out there trying to reach it. And we're all just trying to do it together and just spread the word and just get everybody on the same page. And whether or not people do, I can't, like I said, I can't make you change your mind or understand or realize it. But if I can show you the way and allow you to just do that on yourself, do that for yourself, then so be it. Because then you can walk your own path. You can't walk my path and I can't walk yours, but you can walk your own. And we can walk ours together. Do you see what I'm saying? That's what it's about. And we can walk ours together. Oops, sorry. Do you see what I'm saying? That's what it's about. How the heck? Sorry. I had my phone connected to my a lot of times there will be people that will never understand, or people that will never realize the true nature of their capabilities. And for those that reach that level, that are able to discern for themselves. Sorry. Do you see what I'm saying? And many times there are just things that people will not understand, or they are not ever going to be able to fully understand, because they choose not to. They choose not to understand, and they choose not to be free from the bondages of these things that hold us down, from, religious aspects, from family aspects, from the fear of breaking free of these things. And a lot of times it takes people getting this information or hearing it from somebody else. And I don't know, man, it's just weird, because like I said, for me, it's just been something that I've been diving into since I was younger, and I've just had that inkling and feeling myself to be able to reach out and get that discernment myself, and understand it, and come into my own understanding. And I appreciate everybody that has helped me along the way, and I appreciate all the authors, and I appreciate all the other researchers out there that are doing that due diligence as well, and getting that knowledge out to everybody and helping spread that word, because it's going to come to pass where a lot of this is going to like it says in the Emerald Tablets, nations will rise against nations, fathers will be, fathers against sons, and mothers against daughters, and et cetera, et cetera. And then when people reach that level where it becomes comes to a head where people destroy each other and a third of the world is going to be consumed because of this, the dark ones. And I think that we are seeing these dark ones playing out in front of us. I mean, look at how crazy this world is. Look at all the crazy crap that is happening. Look at the stupid decisions that people are making that are supposed to be our leaders and heads of government. And they're telling us, hey, you need to do this. Yeah, I think that a third of the people need to die. Like, we need to have depopulation soon. And people are like, yeah, I think that's cool. Yeah, we should do that. What? You don't think that this planet is big enough for everybody to live and sustain people? Why the fuck do you think they're cutting down trees, burning forests? People are starving. We have abundance of fucking food all over this world. Anything you need and you want, you can grow it. You're going to sit here and tell me that we could fucking make man-made freaking canals, but you can't freaking divert water in countries that have famine, that are desolate wastelands, so that way we can help people freaking have clean water, so they can grow their own fruit, have cattle, so that way they can have their own meat. You're going to tell me that people have been living thousands of years with freaking holistic remedies to fight diseases and to implement cures for ailments and things that people were suffering from, and treating them with holistic. You're going to sit here and tell me that we can't do this stuff, but I have to go to a doctor to tell me something and pay money to an insurance company, and then pay more money when I go to the hospital, a copay, and then pay bills on top of what's not covered. Get out of my face. Do you see the problem that the world is in today? We're sitting here going to these people for answers that are going to do nothing for us. But yet the answers and the things that we need are all around us. That's what we should be thinking about. That's what we should be focusing on. Not sitting here focusing on so-and-so and this country and that country's doing. You know what? Figure your own crap out. We've got these heads of governments and heads of states sitting here telling us that we got to fight these people. We got to fight that person. We got to freaking take out that person because of this and that. Or, hey, you should join our group because this person's on the outside. Why? Why can't we just all be human beings living on this earth, surviving and taking care of each other, and just living life? Is this planet not big enough for everybody? Yes. Yes, it is. So with that, that is why I say change has got to come. And it's going to take a lot of people coming together and realizing that what is going on is wrong. And we can survive and we can live in harmony, and it doesn't have anything to do with race. It doesn't have to do with anything of where you come from. It doesn't have to do with anything about, well, you're not on this in group, so you're the one that's going to have to die. Why? We got to make a change, folks. And it's got to come from us. We got to implement that change. We got to be the change for not only just for our kids, but for the world. So I hope that everybody got something out of this episode. If not, I'm sorry. Do your own research, do your own due diligence, and look into it yourself. And I will see you guys next week. We will be touching on another subject. I'm not sure about what we're going to be talking about, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be something good. So for everybody that watched or joined in, I appreciate you coming on and watching the podcast. It means a lot. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channels on YouTube, on Facebook, on X. Share it with your friends and your family members. And like I said, I know I'm going to get a bunch of flack from this episode, but so be it. It is what it is. But what are you going to do, right? So like I said, I will see you guys next Friday right here, Seeker of the Unknown. Hopefully it'll be the same time. Not sure about what's going on, so it'll dictate if it's going to be sooner or it's going to be the same time. But I will see you guys next Friday, and be safe. Have a great weekend. And remember, if you have that feeling, something's telling you, hey, this doesn't feel right, or maybe I shouldn't do this, please listen to your instincts, because that's your it's trying to warn you, man. It's your inner voice. You got to listen to it. So I will see you guys next week. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for coming along in this journey. It's a great one, and it's even better when you guys are coming along. So I will see you guys then. Be safe, and thanks again.